Hi everyone, Dr. Williams here. And hey, congratulations. We've come to the end of week 1 of class and everybody's done their Yellow Dig introductions. I hope that you are enjoying Yellow Dig and find it to be a nice change of pace from traditional discussion boards. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what's coming up this next week. And so this next week, you're going to be reading about multiculturalism and counseling diverse clients. And so that's going to be the topic for the Yellow Dig discussion. Now, whenever you post for this week's discussion, make sure that you click on the topic in Yellow Dig on the right hand side of the screen. There's a list of the topics and there's one that says week 2, like counseling diverse clients. Make sure that you pin your post to that topic. But let's talk for just a minute about multiculturalism and multicultural competency. Multicultural counseling theory posits that in order to work effectively with minority clients or clients who are different from us in some way, that we need to have knowledge of the client's culture, we need to have skills for working with the client, and we need to have the right attitude about their culture and belief system. And we need to have the right belief system about it. If you ask me which of the 3 is most important, I say it's the attitude and belief system piece. Because we can always, learn more about something and we can always acquire new skills, but it's that belief system and the attitude that sometimes we struggle with. As counselors, we first and foremost are people, and we're all raised, within our own culture and surrounded by the ideologies of that culture, and those help to frame who we are, to shape who we are as people. And so it's just very important that, number one, that we become aware of what our personal biases are, that we know what they are, we're not in denial about them, and that we are mindful of how those biases influence the ways that we approach our clients, so that we don't impose them onto our clients within the context of the therapeutic relationship. But when we think about multiculturalism, people often think about race, ethnicity, nationality, that kind of thing. But diversity is so much more than that. As counselors, we need to be knowledgeable and have skills for working with clients of multiple generations, the elderly, as well as children, and to understand the different phases of life and the different phases of development cognitively, emotionally, morally, how people develop and grow, and understand the different challenges that are related to the different phases. So stage of life is one aspect of multiculturalism, but then also we need to understand gender differences and how being a woman is different from being a man, and how gender and sex influences an individual's understanding of the world and way of being in the world. So that's one aspect of diversity. We also need to understand how sexual orientation plays into it and how sexual orientation affects the way that a person relates to the world around him or her. And so these are all other important aspects of multiculturalism and diversity that we need to gain knowledge about, skills related to, and the right attitudes and belief systems about, so that we can work with all kinds of clients effectively. So as you complete your Yellow Dig discussion this week, again, I'm not going to lead it, but the topic this week is going to be multiculturalism and counseling diverse clients. And so what I want for you to do is, as you read through those chapters related to the topic, maybe there's a part of the chapter that really reminded you of an experience that you had that you'd want to share, or that causes you to to take pause and question something. Or maybe there's a current event that you know of that you can, provide a link in your pen and to bring it to everybody's attention so that we can have a discussion about it. So that's what I'm looking for in your Yellow Dig discussions. Now, I am going to be kind of lurking in the background in Yellow Dig. I'll be watching the discussions and participating in some of them. I need to let you know that as far as the grading goes, Yellow Dig syncs with Blackboard every 3 hours, okay? For some reason, that's probably my fault because I've done a wrong setting somewhere. Yellow Dig is not syncing correctly with Blackboard, and I know that. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to figure out how to make it do it correctly. But until I figure that out, each Friday after the weekly Yellow Dig discussion is due, each Friday I'll go in and manually input your points. So I don't want you worrying about that, and you can be looking for me to update those on Fridays. So Friday evening you should see the points for the previous week reflected in in Blackboard. So, okay. So you've got that going on this week. Something else that you've got going on this week is that you need to be working on the interview paper. Hopefully by now you've identified someone that you can interview. It can be a school counselor, a community counselor, a college counselor, a private practitioner. But, hopefully it's going to be someone who works in the field, that you're interested in pursuing with your counseling degree. And so this is a good week to get that interview done. I have been asked the question about whether or not you can audio record the interview. The answer to that question is yes, you can. However, you do need to get a written consent from that person to audio record. I do not have a particular consent form for you to use, but what I would suggest that you do is before you begin your interview with your interviewee, just get a piece of paper and have them write something like, Shannon has my permission to audio record this interview for the purpose of completing an assignment for her Foundations of Counseling class at Fort Hays State University. Then have them sign it and put the date. When you submit your interview paper for grading, you can then scan that handwritten consent and include it as the last page of your paper. So you can audio record, you just need a written consent. Okay, and so finally, some of you have already talked with me via Marco Polo, and I hope that you're finding that to be an easier way to communicate with me. It sure is helpful for me here because I'm not having to sit down and check my email a million times a day, and I think that I'm able to respond to you to your questions quicker. So if you haven't already downloaded the app and added me, then please do that, and then I'll talk to y'all soon. Okay, have a great week.